Hello and welcome to another Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood related video, and today I want to talk about the current tank situation. First off, please don't get me wrong, I love all tanks for their different playstarts, and personally I do not specifically choose to have one design tank over another. I prefer having a tank being comfortable on his job over a specific job every day. But it is pretty obvious that there have been some changes in the high tier endgame between 4.0 and the latest updates. Let's go back a few steps first, because before 4.0 launched, the combination of Warrior and Dark Knight was seen everywhere. What made sense, since they've both been working pretty damn well together. Paladins, on the other hand, have not been seen that much, mostly for their lack of magic defense and aggro gain during their DPS combo. Things have changed quite a bit with the expansion though. Paladins suddenly had a decent AoE damage skill. It was weird enough that they never got one in Heavensward, or rather even before. Blocking magic is a thing now, which helps Paladins a lot, and the DPS combo they have has been updated to not gaining any extra aggro anymore. Also, Paladins now can use their MP offensively. All those changes lead to most groups having a Paladin in their kit, and in all honesty, with the horrible runs they had to go through in the 3.x series, they definitely deserved their spot at where they are now. The other two tanks though. At the start of 4.0, Dark Knight was quite famous. The new blood gauge, especially Blood Spiller, was leading to pretty decent damage. Also, unlike Warriors and Paladins, Dark Knight did not suffer on its gauge when switching stances, since it does not have a DPS stance to begin with, but to that we get a little more in the Warrior topic. Also, the new cooldown they got, the Blackest Night, in my honest opinion is extremely good and probably my current favorite tank CD in the game. Losing Darkside by not having enough MP is also not a thing anymore, since MP is not being drained while using Darkside, it just stops the natural MP refresh, what is not really that bad since Dark Knight has enough ways to get MP back. Warriors, on the other hand, as said by many tanks, felt clunky as hell. Only having 2 OG CD attacks now, of which you probably only be using one anyway, was one thing. What made Warrior horrible though, been especially two things. First off, that's probably more a personal thing, was Shake It Off, because Shake It Off was horrible and actually way too late implemented. I have actually never even used the ability until they changed its effect a little later. What it did was removing a negative effect from yourself, but since it could not remove stuns and berserk, not giving you the 5-second negative effect anymore, there was really nothing to use it on. The second bad thing would be the stance dancing. Paladins and Warriors now had to pay half their gauge when switching stances, regardless of how much the gauge was filled at the point. So basically you could not split your gauge swap and then spam Fel Cleaves, as you'd have 50 gauge at the most on a swap, and having to do at least 2 more combos to fill it up, so that really made Warriors slow as hell. This did not affect the Paladin as much, as their abilities did not swap on the stance swap, so they could use their gauge abilities in any stance and swap after, unlike Warriors, whose kit always changed depending on their stance. With those changes, Square Enix implemented Warrior was pretty much out of the view. Paladins definitely had a rock solid space in most teams, while Dark Knights most often took the second. But then on patch, if I recall correctly, 4.06, Warriors finally got some aid. Shake It Off was turned into an AoE shield, which is pretty damn awesome. Paladins already had raid-wide protection. Dark Knights at least can give out their Blackest Night, which also lies on a pretty short cooldown, so Warrior was even behind on this regard, which was a very needed change. Also, the half of the gauge on stance swap effect has been removed, letting you swap stances anytime without the penalty. What makes Warriors probably the best main tank in the current situation. I will probably go in more detail over this in another video, since this makes a good topic on its own actually. So these changes at least got Warrior back in line with Dark Knights. Comparing the two from here on, Warrior actually have a better kit of CDs. Vengeance, Thrill of Battle and Home Gang are pretty damn awesome, while Dark Knight really only has its Blackest Night, which is an insanely good CD. But looking at the rest of personal CDs, they're definitely behind. Also, the damage they can put up is not on par with the Warrior anymore. Those Fel Cleaves are really something else. Aggro generation and stance dancing most likely sealed the coffin for Dark Knight at this point. Is the Dark Knight still capable of clearing content just as the other two tanks? Absolutely. The developers really made the different jobs way more balanced in this expansion than they have ever been, while still trying to keep all of them unique in a certain way, and I still enjoy playing the kinda DPS-ish style of the Dark Knight when I am tanking at one, in dungeons and raids alike. But at the end of the day, tanks do not feel as balanced as, for example, the healers are. Warriors and paladins should not be having the overall better CDs while also dealing more damage. This is not how it should work. Give one tank the best DPS and aggro management, one the best CDs and one a mix of both. But to me it feels like the Dark Knights are a step behind the other two now. It is not a paladin of 3.x. Dark Knights are very playable and you can still bring them to your party, though personally I hate off-tanking at one, but maybe that's just me. I'd love to see a few smaller buffs for the Dark Knights. It certainly does not need major changes. It could still keep on going as it is right now, but at the end I guess we still have to keep an eye out for patch notes to see if anything is really going to change. If I had to choose, I'd probably rather keep the balance they created between the tanks now and keep going with that instead of having everything unbalanced again after a change. So this pretty much is my quick look at the current tank situation. I have to admit that I have been away from the game for a few months now, I think for 2 months now. Reason for this being that my last static kinda broke up and I didn't feel like finding new people to go raiding again. I will probably get back to the game in the next few weeks. I'm still enjoying a little bit of Monster Hunter and I'm probably going to do some Monster Hunter content as well, so if this maybe is a game of your interest, then stay tuned for more content. And I know I have been mostly doing German videos lately, but I want to get back to my English viewer base. I want to do more Final Fantasy XIV. I still have a few videos ready to record, so you can probably expect some more healer and some more tanking videos from my side. And outside of that, I probably will go through a few weapons in Monster Hunter. So like I said, if that's your interest, then stay tuned because I have some content coming your way. And thank you so much for listening through this video. I know it has been quite a long time since I made any Final Fantasy XIV related videos. But yeah, please leave me a comment down below if you enjoyed or did not enjoy the video. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever occurs to you. And if there's something specific you want to see made by me, please just leave it in the comments, because then I definitely will read every comment which hits my comment section, and I will read anything and try to respond to everything that you give me. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.